Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of The Human Side of Marketing. I almost wanted to call it Well-Dressed Walrus, Kurt, because we just said that, but that's okay. It's both. It's everything and all. The Human Side of Marketing.
It's all of it. With
Kurt Stockwell, your fabulous host. Kurt, you're wearing another lid today.
I am. I like wearing hats, and I do have a nice head of hair that I need to also
let it breathe.
Time to time. But waking up in the morning and dealing with small kids and all that stuff, sometimes it's nice to just throw a hat on. And we get good feedback on the Well-Dressed Walrus hats. People like them.
You design good hats, man. I like it. They're cool.
I got one. I did one, and this is the only hat I've ever designed, and people seem to like it. So actually, we have a stack of them here at the office, and when people like, hey, I like that hat, we'll give them a hat.
Hey, all you listeners out there, if you're in Spokane,
there you go.
Might be worth stopping by the old WD Walrus office and picking some swag up.
Yep.
Well, they have a nice balance between cool and classy. They're like this nice blend of
there you go.
Cool and classy. So
the people listening to the podcast, you're going to have to go to our website and try to watch the video so you can see this amazing hat.
And I think that's what people have come to expect from you in their website designs from you and the type of assets they hire you for. It's perfect. Yeah. It's good. Yeah. I love it. Well, let's talk about emails, man. I mean, emails. Aren't emails dead? Why are we talking about emails?
Is email dead? Yeah, I think people would like email to die. I think that when we have inboxes full of 20 unread emails and they're just staring at us all day long, we want email to die. But the reality is email is not dead. There's not any indication that email is going to die. It's going to be with us, and it's a way that we all communicate all day long, every day with our customers. Yeah. So let's do it better.
Let's do it better. It's funny. To me, email is still very personal. Mm-hmm. That's why I get upset when people spam me, because I'm like, don't spam me on something that's personal.
Yeah.
So I'll check email multiple times a day. Mm-hmm. Multiple times a day, and I'm scanning. Because I get so much crap in my inbox, but I'm just scanning. And when I find stuff from real people or people that I like, then I open it and I read it.
Right. Right. Yeah. And so the subject line, which is what we're going to talk about today, is critically important that you write a subject line that makes people want to open that email. Yeah. So hopefully you are the type of company that people recognize as a resource, or they recognize as a trusted friend, or they recognize as an authority in your certain space. So you've already checked that box. Good job. Right. Now, how do we create email subject lines? Now, we're just talking about subject lines today that make people want to open them, because just like you, Chris, I do the same thing. I've actually got this little filter that I actually pay for. Yeah. That is a little add-on to Gmail, and it filters out emails that this thing deems as it's probably not coming from a friend or a colleague. This is probably something that might be a little bit more salesy. And that's fine that it sticks it in that filter, because it allows me to actually look at it at a different time of day when I have more time to focus. Yeah. And what I do is I scan through those, and the email subject lines that pop out at me are the ones that I open. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So got it. Yeah. So how do we write subject lines that make people want to open them? Now, keep in mind that just because your emails are not necessarily getting opened every single time you send out an email, let's say you're doing something like I do with this show. We record the show, and then we wrap it all up in an email and send it out as hey, there's another show that's come out. Click on this link to watch the video, or FYI, and you can get it on your podcast. Right. So, but not everybody opens this email that I send out every single time. Right. But it's got a pretty good open rate of around 30%, which is great for email campaigns. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing that I do need to I do remind myself often is, even though people are not necessarily opening every single email every single time, they are seeing my name, and they are seeing Well-Dressed Walrus. They're seeing the Human Side of Marketing come into their inbox consistently every 2 weeks. Yeah. And so that's another thing to keep in mind too. If you are doing some sort of email campaign that's not spammy, that's not gross, and not non-human, even though people are not necessarily opening every single one, your name is in front of their eyeballs on a consistent basis. So that's a good thing. So remember that.
It's funny when there's, just on that note too, when there's affinity, when there's connection with the person. Like, I've never met Seth Godin, but every day I would get a Seth Godin email in my inbox every day. And there are a lot of people who are like, oh, every day. I'm so mad at people that send stuff every day. And I get that way too with people who I don't know. But I actually don't know Seth Godin either. But I have so much connection with him because I'm such a fan of all of his books that when he sends me something every day, I'm actually not offended, and I rarely open them.
Right. Yeah. So I think that what you're saying is, and I agree to, what you have to start with is the attitude of, the thing that I'm sending out to the digital universe is not garbage.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So make sure your stuff that you're sending out is not crap to begin with.
Right.
And you know that. And so now how do we create a subject line that makes people want to open that awesome thing that you worked hard on and created in a very human to human space, right? Yeah.
Well, walk me through it. How do we, what's the, give me the secret, Kurt. I want to know like the magic bullet.
So in full disclosure, many of these tips that I got today was from an email that I opened. Spoke to some of these things. And I've been thinking about having this as a topic. Yeah. And that email came in right at the right time. And I thought, I'm going to glean some of what this expert is saying and, share it with my friends at the Human Side of Marketing. So here we go. So there's two main rules to follow when you're creating a subject line for your email, that great email that you've created, your customer in mind. So what's in it for me? So your customer in the email subject line should be able to determine what's in it for them. Okay. So I like to use the words you and your a lot as much as possible. Use you and your, because you are telling your customers about something that includes them. So here's a way that you should not create a subject line. So under the, let's say that you are sending out an email, it's summertime. Let's say you're sending out an email talking about things that you're doing in the summer related to your product and service or your offering, and you're changing things about what you do. And that's kind of the body and the meat of the email. So what you don't want to do is say something is have a subject line of your email like, summer is here and we are busy.
Right. Yeah.
But you see stuff like that all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't summer great? Exclamation point. Yeah. I like summer, but I don't want to open your email. Or that's nice that summer's here and you are busy, but what does that have to do with me?
Right.
And in this great email, you've got a lot of awesome stuff that you want your customers to know. You want your customers to know about this product or service that you've changed with them in mind, and it's going to be better for them, and it's going to save them money or make them more efficient, or it's going to be something that they're going to want to, experience and tell their friends about. But your subject line has basically said, it's all about you.
Right. Yeah.
So instead of that, what if you changed your subject line to something like, we've changed our process to serve you better, or we've changed our process to better serve you. Right.
Yeah.
Or something like, we've upgraded our services with you in mind.
Right.
So and then again, the you and the your is not the hard, fast rule. You don't have to use the you and your, but remember that your email subject line should, at least one of the rules to follow is what's in it for them.
Right. This may not even be a great example, but I'm thinking like if you took the no, like summer is here and we are busy, and you just took that and you replaced the we to you, like, and not you, but like summer is here. Here's what you need to know.
Yeah.
All of a sudden that's I'm like, what do I need to know?
Right. Right. Yeah.
That is already better.
Yeah. Keep them in mind. And ultimately we say this often when we're talking about how to make great marketing. We very often default to ourselves because we know ourselves the best. And so we default to the things that we know. And so like, summer is here and we are busy. We are busy. We're busy working hard for you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't come across like that. It just
right.
busy little bees and I don't know what's in it for me. So that's one of one of the rules, or one of the guidelines to follow, is what's in it for your customer, what's in it for me. The second thing to consider when you're writing a great email subject line is open a story loop. Now, this is where we've talked about the one-liner before, where Hollywood creates these one-liners that make you want to watch that movie. Yeah. So like, what's going to happen to Jason Bourne in, the Bourne Identity 12? I don't know how many are there right now. 4 or 5 or 6, right? So you want to know what's going to happen. So they open a story loop and make you want to watch the movie to close that story loop. So Hollywood's great at that. And we talked about the idea that you can even do that in your one-liner when you talk about your product or service. That's a whole nother podcast that we did, which you should check out if you haven't. But open a story loop. Leave them with a question in their head that makes them want to close that story. Okay, so I just had a conversation with an insurance guy that I'm going to help kind of do some clarity on his marketing. And his big struggle is, how do you talk about insurance different than the next guy, right? And how do you make it fresh and unique and make people want to kind of engage? So now this opening a story loop thing, you can get into the idea of success, or you can get into the idea of failure. And I'll tell you what I mean here in a minute. But now in the aspect of like auto insurance, what you shouldn't do in an email subject line is something like, you should have more car insurance. You should have more coverage on your car, right? Or you should have more insurance coverage on your car, right? Okay. Not interested. Right. What if you did a subject line that said something like, driving your car could bankrupt you? Totally. Yeah. So if I'm seeing a subject line it's talking about in the body of the email that most people who are on the road these days are underinsured. And if you got into an accident and you weren't covered and it was, quite cataclysmic, it could bankrupt you. That's really good. Yeah. And so you could go really kind of into the dark places with this idea and make people use the fear tactic, and make people want to open. But that's a story loop of how could my car bankrupt me? I'm interested in learning more about that, right? Now I have to open it and read it to close that loop, to be like, you want to open it and read it to close that loop. Exactly. Yep. Now we've said before that using success in your marketing and using failure in your marketing is like flour and salt when it comes to baking bread. Yeah. Right. Using success is like the flour. You use a lot of flour when you bake bread. And using failure in your marketing is like that little pinch of salt that you put in that recipe. So failure is not as something that you need to avoid, but it's also something you should use sparingly. But for this example, we used kind of the failure approach. Yeah, totally. Another example of opening a story loop, I was actually we have a mutual friend actually who helps businesses create a better workplace. Right. So I was thinking about different businesses that I know, and she came to mind. And I thought, what if you saw an email subject or an email come from, an offering like she might have that says, we offer workplace coaching services. Right. Yeah. But what if your email subject line said, 5 things your employees hate about you? That's good. That's awesome. So think through some of the things that would be nice and juicy and make people want to click, make people want to close that loop. Right. So work really hard on the copy of your email, but don't forget about the subject line. Because people are scanning and scanning and scanning through all of those emails that they get in their inbox, and they don't. Maybe you're not known as a spammy type of person, and so they are interested in your company, but if you've got a boring email subject line, they probably won't open it. I do like the whole thought that marketing is a story, and that there is in your subject lines you can start a story. Sometimes we get very matter of fact or very factual about our subject lines because we're trying to tell them, hey, here's what's in the email. What's in the email is we are busy and summer hours, or, like we offer workplace coaching service. But to get creative for a minute and think of it as a story, like what would be how do you create some intrigue and curiosity in that subject line?
get creative with it. Like tell a story. Don't just be matter of fact.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So we've said often that people are emotional buyers.
Yeah.
You know, when I speak publicly, one of the things I do is I'll tell everybody, okay, point at yourself. And everybody points at their chest or their heart or their midsection region. Right. And I always, kind of, I always say to the crowd, I notice that nobody's pointing at their head. So when I say point at yourself, you're pointing at your soul, your heart, your core, whatever you want to call it. Nobody's pointing at their brain, right? So if we personally identify in this space of your soul, your core, your heart, whatever, that's where decisions are made. Even though we think that people make decisions with their brain, they make decisions with their heart or their soul or what feels right. Yeah. But often in marketing, we speak to people's brain, right? And so that's what you're saying is that email subject line where you want to be technical and specific. That email subject line many times is trying to speak to people's brain. But what you want to do is kind of tug at them at the emotional level.
Yeah. That's why I love 5 things your employees hate about you. It's like, whoa, what? Yeah. Like I need to read that.
Exactly.
And
I need to go read that email.
Right. And to the point of creativity, like in a story, you can then in the first sentence of the email say, well, maybe they don't hate you, but they might be frustrated. Here are some things, right? So the whole point of that subject line, you get them to open and then you can say almost whatever you want to say.
Yep.
As long as you can tie it back.
Maybe hate's a strong word, but right. If your employees aren't telling you. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Cause it's a conversation. I really love conversational emails when they come off as like, you're just being a real person with me. I really like those. And I think your subject line kind of sets the tone for that.
Right.
It's good. I love it. Anything else we need to know about email subject lines?
Think about your subject line. Don't forget about the subject line of your email.
Yeah. Seriously.
The important piece.
I was going to say, like, I bet you could, if you tracked it, you could track ROI on your subject lines directly correlated to business. Like,
there's some email campaigns, software out there where you can A/B test email subject lines. Like have, and what I mean by A/B testing, and probably a lot of people out there know what I'm talking about, but A/B testing is essentially you've got email subject line A and you've got email subject line B. And the software that I've heard about, I've never used it myself, but it will run subject line A and subject line B to like the first 20% of your audience. And then the one that gets the most opens, it will run with that, whether it's A or B, to the rest of the 1,000 people in your list or whatever, because it tested that and it does it automatically.
Yeah. That's so smart. I do love the day and age we live in for all the technology that we have and although it's easy to get lost in all the technology of it all, but I love that it's possible. I love that we have the tools for it.
Yeah. I talk often about, and we've talked often about, don't get enamored with all of the tools, but there's a lot of awesome tools.
There's some great tools. Yeah.
Yeah. But really cool. Focusing on your message and making it.
Yeah. It starts there. It all starts there. The tool's useless if the content isn't good.
Exactly.
So, all right. Good stuff, Kurt. If people want to learn more about you, they want to work with you, maybe they want to have your help in crafting emails based on their brand their story brand script.
Sure.
Or their website, whatever. How do people reach out to engage you?
Yeah. So, we build websites. We help customers fix their marketing messaging in many different places. And you can reach out to me at clarifymymarketing.com.
Perfect.
Or go to our website at welldressedwalrus.com and we can connect that way.
Love it. Those of you listening, if you're actually listening through a podcast directory, feel free to rate and review the show. It not only is good feedback for us, but it also helps others find it organically. Those podcast directories like it when people are recommending and reviewing shows. It lets the podcast directory know if it's a good show. If you've been enjoying the show, feel free to hit rate and review. And good stuff, Kurt. I like it. Till next time.
Thank you, sir. Till next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.